What you're about to watch explains why a 6-year relationship, one that involved a home, a child, and a very public life, is being rewritten in real time by one of the people who lived it. If you don't watch until the very end, you are going to walk away with only half the story, and that half is the part that makes you look like you fell for the PR spin. Zayn Malik just denied ever being in love with Gigi Hadid. Not that they fell out of love, not that they drifted apart, but that it never existed. You clicked on this video because you know that doesn't add up. And you're right, there's a specific psychological reason why he's saying this now, and I'm going to walk you through every layer of it so you understand exactly what this move is designed to accomplish. Stick with me, because by the time we're done, you'll see this isn't just celebrity gossip. It's a masterclass in image protection that you will absolutely have an opinion on. We are not starting with the breakup. We are starting with the statement that just dropped and lit the internet on fire. According to reports surfacing from a recent interview, Zayn Malik has allegedly claimed that the romantic connection with Gigi Hadid, spanning over half a decade, was not what the world believed it to be. We're not talking about a messy fight over parenting styles or who gets the Malibu house. We're talking about a complete seismic retraction of emotional history. And look, I've been covering celebrity news long enough to know that when someone with the global profile of Zayn Malik goes on the record to say something this inflammatory, it is never, and I mean never, just about the other person. It is always about the mirror he is holding up to himself. You have to ask yourself, what is so urgent in his world right now that he needs to burn down the memory of the last 6 years to feel safe? That's the open loop we're going to close today. And honestly, the answer is way more human and way more relatable than you might think. Because at some point, haven't we all looked back at a relationship that ended badly and thought, was any of that even real? The difference is, we usually do it in the group chat, not in a glossy magazine spread that gets dissected by millions. The first little hit of satisfaction here is understanding the context. For years, the public narrative was set in stone. Zayn left One Direction to find his own voice. He found it, and then he found her. Gigi was the supermodel who seemed to ground the mysterious Bradford bad boy. They were on the cover of Vogue together, for crying out loud. They did a Versus Versace campaign where the chemistry was so palpable, sources claimed the director didn't even have to give them notes. They just fit. So when I tell you that he's now essentially saying the entire foundation was built on sand, your brain naturally recoils. It feels like a glitch in the Matrix, and that glitch, that's what keeps you from scrolling away. Because if that Vogue cover was a lie, what else is? What about the pictures of him smiling, actually smiling with teeth on the farm in Pennsylvania with her mom Yolanda? Were those manufactured too? That brings us to the pivot point, the moment where we have to put on our analyst hats and look at the timeline. You don't get to drop a bomb like this without a fuse, and the fuse, in my opinion, was lit a few years ago during that infamous incident involving Yolanda Hadid. Now, I'm not here to relitigate family drama, but we have to acknowledge the 400-pound elephant in the room. Zayn entered a no-contest plea to harassment charges related to an altercation with Yolanda. In the aftermath of that, the unified front of ZG crumbled faster than a sandcastle at high tide. Gigi, as any rational human would, prioritized her family and the safety of their child. This is where my own personal, non-biased opinion slides in. I think it's incredibly easy to sit on the sidelines and judge celebrity couples, but when you look at the actual facts reported by credible outlets, you see two very young, very successful people who were trying to navigate a relationship under a microscope while dealing with very real, very adult stressors. Zayn has been open about his struggles with anxiety and the pressure of fame. That's not a character flaw, that's a human condition. But here's where the psychology of the new statement gets interesting. By saying he was never in love, he is potentially attempting to reframe the entire history of conflict. If you never loved someone, then the pain of losing them doesn't hit the same, does it? If it was never real, then the mistakes you made within that relationship don't carry the same weight of regret. It's a psychological sleight of hand. It's the emotional equivalent of getting fired and then telling everyone you hated that job anyway and were about to quit. We've all seen it. Heck, maybe we've all done it. There's a weird protective sarcasm in that move that I can almost respect on a strategic level. Almost. But then you have to look at the other side of the coin, the one with Kai's face on it. They share a daughter. She is the one object in this entire equation that is undeniably 100% real. And that is where this narrative gets tricky for me. Because if you deny the love that created the family, are you accidentally minimizing the foundation upon which that family was built? I'm not saying that's his intention. According to sources close to the situation, the co-parenting relationship is actually in a decent place, focused solely on what's best for their little girl. But if you're Gigi Hadid waking up to headlines that the father of your child just told the world he was basically going through the motions for 6 years, I mean, the strength it must take to not immediately post a rebuttal on your Instagram story is a level of restraint I personally do not possess. My thumbs would be flying. That's the mini payoff right there, recognizing that the silence from Gigi's camp is louder than any quote Zayn could give. He's letting him have the narrative because she knows that the real story, the one of her being a hands-on mom and building an empire with guest in residence, doesn't need defending. It's already being written in real life, not in the tabloids. So why now? Why is he opening this door again 6 years in? This is the part where we connect the dots to his career. Let's not be naive. Celebrity is a business. Zayn has new music coming. He's on a new label. He's doing a press tour. And in the world of algorithm-driven media, the easiest way to cut through the noise and get your name on the front page is to say something that contradicts the established history. If he came out and said, "I miss her, I regret everything," he looks vulnerable and maybe a little pathetic, but sympathetic. Instead, he's chosen the path of the stoic, the lone wolf who was never truly caught. He's rewriting the myth of Zayn Malik as the guy who only belongs to himself. And you know what? From a branding perspective, it's a bold, albeit cold, strategy. It reestablishes the mysterious artist archetype that made him so compelling when he first left the biggest boy band on the planet. The man who doesn't need the machine, the man who doesn't need the supermodel, the man who stands alone. It's a narrative that sells records to a specific demographic that values independence above all else, but it also leaves a trail of collateral damage. I find myself looking at the timeline again and thinking about the pandemic lockdown. There were reports and photos of them being a family unit in Pennsylvania. You can't fake a pandemic lockdown with a toddler. That's the kind of pressure cooker that either reveals deep, abiding love or shatters the illusion completely. To say there was no love at all during that time, it just doesn't pass the smell test for anyone who has ever lived with another human being for an extended period of time. Annoyance? Sure. Frustration? Absolutely. But a total absence of love? That's a rewrite of history that requires a level of emotional distance that is frankly fascinating to observe from afar. It's like watching someone try to fold a fitted sheet perfectly. You know it's not going to work, but you can't look away because the effort is so intense. And that's the hook that keeps you watching. You want to see if he can actually pull off this narrative fold without it springing back into a tangled mess, because the internet never forgets. The photos are still there. The birthday tributes where he called her his everything are still screenshotted in the archives of fan accounts. This isn't just a statement about his feelings, it's a declaration of war on the public record. And fighting the public record is a losing battle, especially when you're up against a fan base that has literally cataloged every interaction you've had since 2015. The next layer we have to peel back is the impact on the next generation. They have a daughter who will one day have a smartphone and an internet connection. How do you explain this to her? "Hey, sweetie, you know those beautiful pictures of mom and dad at the Met Gala? Yeah, dad was just, standing there for 6 years. No big deal." It's a conversation I wouldn't want to have. And that's where my brief positive personal opinion lands. Despite the messiness of this quote, I genuinely believe that both Zayn and Gigi are doing what they think is right in this moment for their own sanity. Zayn is trying to protect his peace by boxing up the past and labeling it irrelevant, and Gigi is protecting her peace by refusing to engage with the label. It's two people who shared a massive, life-altering chapter and are now writing the epilogue separately. That's not a crime. It's just awkwardly public. And if I can find a sliver of humor in this, it's the fact that this is the most guy logic move I have ever seen. It's the emotional equivalent of a guy saying he's not hungry while stealing fries off your plate. We see you, Zayn. We see you trying to steal the narrative fries even though you claim you're not interested in the meal anymore. It's a fascinating, if slightly exhausting display of human ego. And before you click off to go check the comment section to see who's taking sides, think about this. What does Gigi gain by staying quiet? That's the unresolved piece we haven't fully answered. By not responding, she lets him own the narrative entirely. It's his words, his echo chamber. Her silence is the ultimate power move. It says, you can have the headlines, I have the life and the child and the cashmere line. It's a masterclass in understanding that not every open loop needs to be closed by you. Sometimes the best way to win a PR war is to not show up to the battlefield. And that, right there, is the final insight. This story isn't about whether Zayn loved Gigi. That's a question that exists only in the space between his heart and his memory, a space none of us have access to. This story is about how we, the public, consume the performance of love and the performance of heartbreak. We want the neat,